When you get to taking the vital signs, you don't need to tell me you're taking the pulse, I can see that. You do need to tell me that you're taking the respiratory rate, because I can't know that, okay? So I think this is pretty straightforward. You all know how to take the blood pressure and the pulse by now? Anybody have questions about that? Anybody have questions about the procedure of taking the palpatory blood pressure first? Y'all clear about that? How it works?
Oh, can you say how?
Hmm?
Can you say how?
You see it, yes.
Yeah.
I gave blood at the blood drive last week, and the nurse didn't know how to do the palpatory blood pressure. She was waiting for it to stop feeling the pulse so she could get the bottom number. So what's wrong with that idea? Systolic.
Gonna have to wait a long time.
She's gonna have to wait a long time. She's only gonna feel the systolic. Okay, so, okay, now, here's a good thing you bring this actually. When you come to the exam, please bring a gown. Please make yourself easy for the person to examine. If you want to wear a very short sleeve shirt for this exam, it will be okay. The next time you're gonna have a gown because it's gonna be heart and lungs. But make sure that you have something on that the person can take a blood pressure through. So technically I shouldn't really do it through her sleeves, but I will for today. You're not gonna get into trouble with that phone. Okay. Practice with the cuff. If your family has gotten to the point where they're running away from you whenever you get this stuff out, put it on a chair leg. Put it on your own leg. But practice getting it on and off, because nothing is more disheartening for you and the examiner than you're like, I'm putting it on 3 or 4 different ways, I got it in the wrong place, I have to take it off again, It's falling off because it's not tight enough. You don't know how to do the valve, and so you're kind of, make sure you know that part. You need it at the hospital, it's not you, right? Okay. This little gizmo here, actually this one isn't. Some of them have a little thing that you're supposed to put the meter on. It's almost never in the right place.
Yeah.
So just tuck it underneath, give it to the person to hold. You can ask them, can you just hold that right there, please? That'd be great. Just, get comfortable with it. Do it 15, 20 times at least so that you know how to do it. Okay, so we're going to do first blood pressure by palpation. I find her pulse. I inflate. I don't feel it anymore. And I know what that number was, and we're at about 104, but you don't have to tell me any numbers. Then, when I get ready to do it, I'm going to add 30, right? It's good to feel for the brachial pulse first, but it's not absolutely essential. Adding 30 to the systolic I got by palpation. And then I'm going to come down. Give a few more years. Don't need to tell the examiner the numbers. Just do it. Look like you know what you're doing. And then on the exam, you're going to do the other side. You're going to do more than one position. On some of these things that are very repetitive, the examiner may stop you and say, okay, go on. So if you've moved to the other side and started to take the blood pressure so that we know you know to do that, you may say go on. Don't let that shake you. It just means we're trying to save some time. Yeah.
Should we also say to do one standing and then 2 sitting as far as blood
You
pressure?
do both sides sitting and then either lying down or standing.
Lying down or standing.
Okay, now again, as you begin to ask the patients to do that,
Mhm.
you may be told to move on.
Okay.
Don't let that throw you. Okay? If you didn't do so well at it the first time, I might watch you do it a second time just to make sure I understand your level of expertise.
So move on means stop what you're doing.
Yeah, stop what you're doing and move on to the next thing. Okay, so if you're really, you're somebody who has all the steps memorized, make sure that in your head you allow some room for, okay, but I might skip that one and move on to the next one. Because people sometimes, a lot of what's hard about this exam is nerves. Especially the first one, people get anxious about it. It's not a big deal. Nobody's out there to fail you. Most people pass this exam. And only very rarely do people not pass it. So just take it easy. Be confident. Do it right. Okay. Any questions about taking the pulse, the respiratory rate? No?
Professor, Who's gonna be the patient? Like one of the students?
One of the students.
So-
You will have a list posted out here, probably about half an hour beforehand, and it will tell you where to go, which examiner you have, and who's your partner. Any of you who are in the hospital will not be the first pair,
Yeah.
because we'll leave you some extra room to get back. It will start at 2:00. Please, for those who aren't here, can somebody just send out an email to the whole class? It starts at 2:00. Make sure everybody knows. Yeah.
It'll have like your partner and what time you're going at or whatever, like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll say show up at room whatever at
Okay.
2:00 or at
Uh-huh.
3:00. We'll give you a half an hour maximum. I will ask the second group to come after 45 minutes because often people don't need the whole 30 minutes. You have up to 30 minutes to do it. Many of you will be able to finish in 15 or 20.
And then we can go home?
Yes, and then you go home. You're done. Okay? And just so you don't get too disturbed by it, if you're the last ones this time, I will do my best to make sure that you're the first ones next time. All right? So nobody is the last one all the time. Other general questions? Yeah.
As far as respiratory rate, do you have a preference how we take it?
As long as you're,
First or overture?
oh, you mean like listening over the trachea? You can do that if you want to. As long as it's a reasonable thing that you're doing.
Yeah, but I mean, you as a teacher, how would you know that I'm doing the right thing if you're not
You're
gonna
gonna
feel?
say, I'm counting the respiratory rate. Do
No,
I
but
know
how would you know
everything
that
right? I
I'm-
don't know for sure.
How would you know that I'm putting in the right place or the right location?
Well, basically, if you're listening for breath sounds, almost anywhere in the neck, you're gonna hear the breath sounds.
Not about the neck only, just like for example, if I'm checking the eye, how would you know that I saw the optic disc or
I don't, there's no way I can.
You just look.
But I'll tell you one thing, when we get there, you'll see. You'll see what I can definitely do, all right?
That's funny.
That's the way that.
That's what I'm asking for.
Moving on. Skin, okay, so you're going to say, I'm inspecting the skin now for color, lesions, masses, thickness, opacity, right? We know that you're not gonna examine the whole body skin, but you might wanna add, and I would continue my skin exam with the rest of the exam, okay? Then you're gonna feel for temperature, you can use the backs of your hands or the sides of your hands, those are the most temperature sensitive places. So after you put your hands like so, and just feel all the way down, and check the temperature. And then I'm gonna check also for moisture and turgor. Turgor, I take a pinch and I see how the skin falls back. This is quite good.
Could you show, I couldn't see the temperature one. How do you check it?
Yeah, that's the hard part about reading in between. Okay, good, thanks. So I'm gonna check the temperature this way. I'm comparing side to side. Many things that we examine side to side because we're trying to see what the difference is between them. We assume that one side's normal. It's not always true, but we see abnormalities more likely that way. However, when you're palpating now, I'm palpating once, right? But I'm actually palpating for moisture, turgor, and texture all at once. So you might want to say that, right? Just so that the examiner knows what you're looking at. Nails, again, we're back to inspection. You're looking at color, shape, lesions, infections. Basically, if you say masses and lesions in just about any part of the body, you got part of it already, right? So that should just be a habit. Looking for signs of infection. Capillary refill, you don't have to tell. We can see that one. You know, you're pushing and you're looking. Don't worry if the person has nail polish on. We know you can't see it, but just do it, okay? Just act as if.
Capillary refill is when you pinch to the.
Pinch the nail bed, you watch it get pale and then pink up again, and you count how long it takes for it to get pink again.
And you said if we have nail polish, we can absorb, yeah, right?
Well, you can't really. If it was a real patient and it was a serious situation, they would take the nail polish off, or they would use a Pulflex. In a low-tech place, they take the nail polish off, and most hospitals
Should
in
we
New York
come
City use
without
Pulflex.
nail polish?
Well, that would be good, but if your partner happens to forget to remove their nail polish, don't worry about it, just do it as if you could see. Okay, so head, we're back to symmetry, deformities, signs of trauma, specific facies, lesions or masses, and then you're gonna palpate for any tenderness or swelling. So how are you gonna convey this? You're going to say to the person who's the patient, do you have any tenderness? And then you're going to look for any swelling as you palpate. Okay, so you might want to say, I'm checking for swelling. Hair, same thing, quantity distribution, you know, you're inspecting, you're looking at the scalp, you're checking for hair distribution and quantity, anything else on the scalp, texture of the hair, those are things you say out loud. Questions? Editorial remarks?
I was making fun about my, yes.
Oh, your hair. Well, your hair's easier to see the scalp, right? Yeah, so, you know, again, normal texture for this person, different from one person to the next, right? Okay, eyes we're going to inspect, so we're going to look at, you know, this one I would just really encourage you, just look at the person, don't worry too much about the list. Look at the person and name everything you see. Okay, so you see the eyebrows, the eyelids, the eyelashes, you're looking at the cornea, the sclera, the pupils, look at the conjunctiva, look up please. So I'm looking at her palpebral and her bulbar conjunctiva. Okay, so I'm looking at all the things, I'm describing them, I put like this and I ask her to look up please. Okay, so then I checked both her palpebral, the part around the bulb. I'm sorry, the palpebral is the lid, and the bulbar around the bulb, conjunctiva. Okay? The lacrimal gland and sac. So the lacrimal gland is where? Point to your own.
Here.
Lacrimal gland is up here.
Oh.
The lacrimal duct is here.
Oh.
Like right here, or?
The lacrimal gland, the opening is like right here, so it's like right around in here. And the duct is down here. Okay? So you're gonna palpate those. Up here, and here. Move if you can't see, seriously.
I didn't say anything.
It's here, I can't see, it's here. Okay, so move if you can't see. Alright, we did all of that. Visual acuity, we probably won't have a chart, you know, on the wall, so use the little one. If you forget it, which I hope you won't, you can just, you know, hand them something else. But think ahead. Oh my God, I forgot my eye chart. Either borrow it from somebody else, or bring a newspaper with you and ask the person to read the newspaper. Because basically, we just want you to check their vision grossly. We're not looking for precise measurements on it. So you know you check it one eye at a time. That's pretty straightforward. And then you check it with both eyes together. This is a place where you might be asked to move on when you get to the second eye, or the eyes together. Someone might ask you to move on. Okay, pupillary reaction. You can use a pen light if you want to. I usually just use my scope for everything. This is just easier. I don't have as much to remember. Okay, so pupillary reactions. You still okay? Alright. If you can't see, please move to where you can. I'll give you a minute. I'm going to put my hand here so that the light that's affecting one eye is not going to affect the other one. Turn my light on. I'm going to come from the outside. I'm going to look at this pupil first. Then I'm going to look at the other one. And I'm going to come over here to look at this one. And then the other. So what am I testing now? I've tested
Accommodation.
direct and consensual. Right. Okay? Now what I often do at that point is I don't put this down. I leave it in my hand. Okay? So I'm doing pupils. I'm looking here. I'm looking there. I'm looking here. I'm looking there. Now follow the light, please. I hold her chin. Then I don't even have to give her the instruction not to move her head. When you do this, make sure you bring them over far enough. You won't be the nystagmus there. So that you might actually see the nystagmus. If you quit here, first of all, you haven't checked the extraocular movements. You don't go all the way to the side. You haven't really checked the muscles fully. And you may miss the nystagmus if it's there. Okay, now, I can just flip my light off. Now keep looking at the scope. Focus on it, please. Okay, and now I see convergence and accommodation. What's the difference between convergence and accommodation? Right, so convergence is whether the eyes turn in symmetrically. Sometimes you'll see one person might do that. The one doesn't go all the way in. That denotes a weakness in the extraocular muscle. But accommodation, what do you see when the eye is accommodating? The pupil gets smaller, right. The ciliary muscle is squeezing the lens to focus on something closer in. So convergence and accommodation. You alright?
It's hot.
No? You're in flannel.
Yeah.
What were you thinking?
I don't know. I wasn't thinking. I just woke
Okay,
up.
so we did
Thinking how
that.
cold it is outside.
Now we're going to do visual fields. Over the side, please. I never say right or left. It takes too much time. The patient right, left, right, left. I'm thinking right, left, right, left. Don't worry about it. If there's a problem, then you can stop and decide, well, which side was that? to just go do one side and then the other. If they're both normal, move on, don't have to worry whether it was right or left, right? So cover this eye, I'm gonna cover the same eye. I want you to tell me when you see my moving finger, okay? So that was the visual field. No, I'm doing it. Okay. Don't forget the nasal field. Okay, so when you're doing, if the person has covered them, make sure you come across this way to check the nasal field of vision. Fundoscopic exam. Also practice getting the head of your otoscope and ophthalmoscope off and on. Nothing is more disturbing than to watch someone it's like the first time they picked it up, they have no idea. If you're going to borrow someone else's, practice with it before you get in there. All right, so here's how I know you're not seeing what you're telling me. I see you like this.
No, I mean,
I'm looking for I see the vessels in the cup and the
no,
that is
that's
just not happening.
because during the lab, like I was looking at the eye, but I couldn't see the optic disc. So in the exam, I guess I will do the same. Like I'm not gonna see the optic disc. I'm not lying. I'm telling you, like.
Well, you
So
might
how
see it
would
for
you
the
know
first
that?
time. It might be hallelujah. You actually might see it. It might
So
happen.
how would you know that I see it or not?
I don't.
Okay.
But I know if you look like you're trying to see it,
Okay.
and like you listen to how you might see it. Okay, so I know that you put the scope on the same eye as you're looking in. I know that you look, I can see when you've actually got a red reflex. Let me just back up 1 second. In order to look in the eye, if you put your hand on the eyebrow and pull up, it's not so uncomfortable. Do not dig into the patient's eye and yank their eyelid up. That's not a happy thing. And remember that your partner, when you're done, doesn't have to do an exam. So try not, as best you can, not to have them have a bazillion green dots in front of their eyes, okay? So, on the eyebrow, lift it up a little. I'll do it in a minute. I'm going to do it slowly. Put it on your eyebrow. Come in at an angle about like this. See the red reflex now. I'm going to pause a minute until I actually see something. For me, that might mean going all the way around. Okay, and now I'm going to look up in this quadrant, look straight ahead, please. And back to the disc, and down to the inferior quadrant, and back to the disc. And the outer quadrant, back in, and down to the lower one. And back in. Did I look like I knew what I was doing? Could I actually see her fundus? No. Because her pupil is pretty small. If I really needed to see her fundus, I'd have to dilate it. But I looked like I knew what I was doing, right? At least I was going through the right moves where if her pupil was available
We
and
caught
the book
you.
open, I might actually see something.
We caught you.
What'd you see?
The light actually went off.
But yeah, but then I moved it back, right? I mean, I was looking in her eye the whole time. I wasn't able to see a ton.
So you went up, down, and
So you're going to
Angle.
look up this way and back and down into the inner corner and back and up into the outer corner and back and down and up. Now, I'm not saying I'm perfectly in contact with her fundus at every second, but, you know, I keep coming back to what it is I need to see, right? Remember Dr. Brugge's peephole in the construction site? You know, you're trying to see what's going on with that skyscraper they're trying to build. What about that hole down in the ground, right? You have to kind of get yourself moved around to be able to see through that little hole to see the big thing behind it. Okay?
Oh,
Yeah.
Professor, could you
Yeah.
do the other eye? I could not see. I just saw your back, sorry.
And at the end, you're going to ask them to look straight at the light, which brings what into view? When they look straight at the light, what do I see?
the red reflex,
Red reflex.
No, you see the
cornea.
Okay, so I'm looking this way. What am I going to see?
See them on the outside.
See the,
Fundus.
the fundus, but I'm going to see the disc. Is it just about this angle, right? And then I'm going to go in and out, down here, down here. Then I ask her to look right into the light, or I move straight in front of her, one or the other.
Fovea.
And what's, thank you, again?
Fovea.
Fovea.
The fovea surrounded by the
Macula densa.
macula. Okay. So, here we go again. Look straight ahead, please. Okay. You're getting my butt. Think about Okay. Now with the eye. You'll notice there's points for technique, meaning look like you know what you're doing. Okay. Here.
There's,
Yes.
before the exam, isn't it necessary to say that you're living the life?
It would be a good idea to say I would do more. And also, well, never mind. But do you know what you do if you can't get if you're trying to do your best exam possible, don't worry about this on the actual exam, but you should know this in real life. If you dim the light a little bit, okay, so if it's at its brightest, it's gonna be most likely to cause her pupil to contract, right? If I turn this back just a little bit and make it a little bit less bright, I may actually see more, because the pupil opens up. Okay, so we're on to the ear now. You still good, or should I
Yeah.
switch?
That's hard.
Let's
Do
get
the
somebody,
ear now.
let's get somebody who shouldn't go sit by the window. Why don't you open the window? Okay, keep with somebody new? Somebody new? Nobody's gonna be here? Andrew will be the ear. Thank you, Sarah.
I volunteer. I gotta
My
start.
man look like my man.
Okay, so, what do we always do first?
Can do your ear.
Inspect.
Inspection of the ear.
And again, look at it and just say what's there, right? So I'm inspecting the ear for masses, lesions, discharge. I'm looking at the pinna and the lobe and the tragus. And then I've got, what, is there anything I was supposed to inspect for? Color, shape, position, and mastoid, I'm looking all around. Okay, then I'm gonna palpate pinna, the lobe, and the tragus is the little doodad right here, right? And ask him if he has any tenderness, any pain on him. And I don't find any masses or swelling or anything. Okay, then. Here's another trick that you learn after a while. It seems like it's like an hour between the minute when you picked up your thing and you got all your stuff together. Really, it's like 30 seconds. And if you just keep breathing and relax about it, and if you fumble a little, it's not the end of the world. Yeah. Are you just waiting in general?
No, I was actually pulling my sleeve back up.
Alright, so we did that. Now we're going to look at the external ear. We did that part. We palpated. Now we're looking at the auditory canal. So in order to really look at the auditory canal, I have to use my light. Right, so I'm going to actually just have a look around and see if, again, if I see any discharge, any masses, any lesions, and what's the other thing, especially with kids that I'm looking for in the ear? Foreign bodies, they like to put beans in their ears. Okay, and then we're going to do the actual ear exam. I'll do it on both sides. I always hold it like this. Some people hold it like this. I find it much too easy to poke the patient that way. If I hold it this way, I can put my hand against their scalp, and I have a better sense of how close I am to them. Also, if it's a kid, I can kind of help immobilize the head that way. And if they're moving all around, I can go with them. Just a second, back and forth. So I can kind of go with them this way without jabbing their ear, right? So I'm going to grab the pinna, I pull it out, up, and back. Okay? I look through, first I look with my light, I kind of position my scope, then I look through the lens, and I look for the cone of light, any masses, any discharge, any lesions, any sclerosis. Did I miss any? Foreign body, yes, foreign body, thank you.
You said pull up, out, and back, or out,
Basically,
up, and
it's
back?
a vector like this. Remember vectors from geometry? This one, like that. The way I think about it is, ear canal is about the same angle as your stethoscope, right? Except just angled up a little bit.
Alright, so pull out, up and back. Or, I don't know.
Don't even have, you don't have to say anything, just do it right. So it's like a diagonal this way, yeah? I'm doing it this way. Okay, so I'm gonna put a little traction on it, up, this direction, yeah? Like so. I'm gonna look first outside the scope, find the light, make sure I'm in more or less the right place. Then I put my eye here. I'm gonna have a good look around. If I do it this way, it's way too easy to do something like this, and then just stab him with it. So it's better to position it first with the light, and then look. Okay? Much less likely to have your patient go back, which is also not good in an exam. Yeah.
Do we have to tell the person that we are looking for the color of the PM or the discharge when we examine the middle ear?
Yes, because I can't tell what you're looking for. Only you can tell. Okay. So then we're gonna test. Why do we look inside the ear before we test auditory acuity?
If you're not
If there's anything in there, or any other problem. Maybe there's a big hole in the eardrum, and that's why they can't hear. Like, we wanna see what's in there, the hearing apparatus, at least as well as we can, before we check hearing.
Wax.
I'm sorry?
Also wax is maybe.
Wax, yes, wax is frequent. Okay, so now I'm gonna check hearing, right? So I'm gonna use the tragus, which makes a great little handy earplug. I'm just gonna put my finger over the tragus and close his other ear. And I'm gonna look for,
Baseball.
and I'm gonna ask him to say what I just said. Okay? And then over here, do the same thing.
PA school.
Okay. So I checked his hearing grossly. That's all we're gonna do for here. We're not gonna do anything fancy. Hearing. Okay? Then we're gonna do Weber and Renee. Rena, depending on who you listen to.
It's
I
so
usually-
hard to do that
You
thing.
hit it?
It's very hard. You know how to do it?
I usually do it on my knee.
He doesn't have
Well, you don't have to hit it that
Yeah.
hard. In fact, if you hit it too hard, it goes on forever, right? And you're waiting. So don't hit it that hard, you know, so. You hear that?
Yep.
You hear more on one side than the other?
Equal.
Okay. So I'm done with that part, right? Now I'm gonna do Rena. Okay? Can you hear that?
Yep.
I don't hear it anymore. We got one of the older. Can you hear it now? So I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Can you hear that?
Yep.
And you don't hear it anymore? If you're not sure, and don't do this on the exam, but just for your general knowledge, if you're not sure whether the patient's telling you the truth or not, you can put it here, say, do you still hear it? And you're holding on to it, they can't hear it. Likewise, if you do it like this, I know you don't really know what you're doing, right? You have to hold it at the stem, otherwise the patient can't hear it. These are frequent mistakes. You need the benefit of years of student mistakes. Nose. We're gonna look at the nose. We always look at the external nose for the same kinds of stuff that we normally look for: masses, lesions, discharge, color, symmetry, foreign bodies. Then we're gonna palpate. Any tenderness here? Done with the outside of the nose. Don't use the same speculum for the nose as you use for the ears, please.
Inside.
You might, before you actually look inside the ear, the nose, ask him to sniff in. Same thing this side. Or you could ask him to put his finger on one side of the nose and sniff in. Somebody had this really complicated thing, breathe in and out, and you don't want them to breathe out because if there's anything in there, it may come out. You can also just say, would you please do this? And they can usually figure that out. And I'll do this, right? And then you're done. Okay, nose, I usually hold it this way for the nose because it's just a better angle. Tip the head back just a little bit, put your finger on the tip of the nose and just push up a little bit, that's all it needs, doesn't need a lot. Again, position first without looking through the window, then look through the window. Same thing on the other side, position first, then look through the window. Now, again, if you just stay in one spot instead of looking for the turbination, the mucosa, and the discharge and all that, I know that you're not really looking, you need to look up and down a little bit or you're not gonna see the turbinate, see, not very, just tiny. Yeah, until you can see, which shouldn't be very far in. Sometimes you see the septum better when you're back a little ways, sometimes you have to get inside the nose before you see the septum deviation or symmetry. Okay, then we're gonna, the palpation sinus looks pretty straightforward, you're just gonna put your fingers over the eyebrows, below them, push the tenderness there. You don't need it, like, that's another one, you don't have to tell me, now I'm gonna palpate the sinus, you just have to say, any tenderness? Yeah, any tenderness here. Okay? We're more interested in can you tell the patient what to do. I get that kind of feedback than we are with you rattling off a long list of what. Okay, so mouth and oropharynx, we begin again with inspection. Name the parts that are in front of you, right? Just name everything you can see. First you start with the lips and the border, especially. Open the mouth, and you're gonna, I had somebody, I used up all of mine setting up for the exam.
Mustache.
Yeah.
I used them all up setting up for the exam. Do you have one?
자제.
Alright, I'll go get one. I'll be right back.
He's going to go.
Keep going.
What?
Yeah. Pull it. He's been bad.
No.
I keep recording Satar's head. They're gonna do it.
This way.
Like I said. You know, when we were doing the tonsil, he was telling me
He can't see.
When you do the exam, if you didn't see optic disc, they could see that.
well, that's why I'm not gonna see it anymore. I'm not gonna see that. So I just see the red floods.
So first I look at the outside, I look at the lips, I look for any lesions, any masses, any asymmetry. Open your mouth, and I'm gonna look at the mucosa, I'll look at the teeth. Catch it out, please. I'll look it up.
Do you have to say something? You don't have to say anything?
Do you say looking, do I have to say something? I have to instruct him what to do, yeah.
Oh,
How's he gonna know?
just the
to say,
inspection, we have to repeat it, right?
Yes, say what you're looking at. Here's a good way to do this, for the things that are long lists,